Hey guys, this is Cam from 15, and I am back at it with another video for you guys. And yes, 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 that's what I'm talking about. Our Clippers got the W today. We can all breathe a sigh of relief, especially at the end when Reggie Jackson almost pulled a Chris Webber tonight. But your Los Angeles Clippers beat the Miami Heat, even though they were shorthanded tonight. The Clippers were as well in their own, reasons. Clippers beat the Miami Heat 109 to 105. And what I thought was a pretty good freaking game, you know, now taking back at this team really did freaking fight its way again. Without the services of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Patrick Beverly, at least this team, they got back in this game and they fought just like they fought in the last game. And they got a W out of it, mostly because they had a very, and I mean very big third quarter, which essentially, I guess you can say, locked them the game up against a very gritty, tough Miami Heat team. Obviously, let me just say when the game was starting for the Clippers, like I was getting kind of freaking not really worried, but I was getting kind of pissed off, especially with how big the Miami Heat lead was getting to. Because one, in that first quarter, the Heat damn near didn't miss a shot. Almost, it didn't matter if it was Kelly Olynyk, freaking some guy named what is it? Let me find his name. Hold on. Let me find his name. The number 2 for the freaking Miami Heat. Hold on. My app needs to pull up Gabe Vincent. Yeah, you had literally nobody freaking just these random guys for the Miami Heat just hitting all these shots, and you're just looking at this as a Clipper fan, and you're like, really? Really? We're gonna get dropped. We're gonna get dropped by the Miami Heat and their squads of nobodies, you know? And shockingly, after the first quarter was over, the team hampered down in the second quarter and got themselves back in the game in the third quarter, led by the Batum Battalion, Nicholas Batum. Great pickup from the Clippers. Right now, if you ask me who's the greatest offseason pickup, it's Nicholas Batum. And I'm not being biased because I'm a Clippers fan. I literally wholeheartedly think the best pickup in the league today from the free agent market in terms of role players has been Nicholas Batum. Nicholas Batum, as well as the other players, they killed it tonight in that third quarter by going on a 20-2 run where it honestly felt like they were not missing a shot. And essentially because of it, the Clippers got out to a big lead and essentially kind of sealed them the deal in the end, even though the Heat did come back to make it a closer game than what it should have been. Guess what? Sometimes you can't overcome a very big run of a quarter that the Clippers had. And, to start the fourth quarter, it was looking bad because the Heat freaking went on like a 10-0 run, I believe, a 10-2 run. And, they went to playing zone defense, which clearly affected the Clippers. Like, they stayed in that zone defense as much as they could. But, again, when the Clippers had to make the timely shots, they had to make the shots to extend their lead. They did that. Now, again, it was a good thing the Clippers played some late, really good late defense in the last remaining seconds because, again, like I said earlier in this video, Reggie Jackson pulled a Chris Webber in calling a timeout when the team didn't have any timeouts. And luckily, the team held on to the lead and won the game because it would have definitely, and I'm definitely pissed coming on this video talking about how much Reggie Jackson screwed up. I guess the one thing that I did see on Twitter regarding the Clippers reporters is saying how much, the Clippers, players surrounded Reggie Jackson and kind of consoled him and said, hey, yo, it's okay. You got it. And stuff like that. And I didn't think Nicholas Batum in his interview said, listen, it was just a mistake. Everybody makes them, Again, Okay, fine. As long as that's just a one-time mistake, I'm good. But next time, look at the game situation. If you have no more timeouts, then listen, every player needs to be informed. So you could also say that on the coaching staff that maybe they didn't inform the players that, hey, we just took our last timeout. If we get into trouble, just let you know you can't call a timeout. So hopefully going into the next game, which actually tomorrow they play on a back-to-back against the Magic. Um, hopefully that doesn't happen next week. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, especially tomorrow. But yeah, I'm gonna get into some stats of some players for the Clippers. Well, actually, I'll get to the Heat first. The Heat had like 6 players in double figures tonight, and we overcame that. Again, the Heat got up to a big lead. At like one point, the score, from what I remember, was like 15 to like 33 or something like that. And you would think, okay, the Clippers are probably going to kill over and just say, whatever, we don't got nothing left in the tank. And honestly, I was tweeting at that point, I'm like, this team desperately needs Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. I don't really much care about Patrick Beverly, but they definitely need their superstar players to, look respectable because, the thing is when you saw that first quarter and then some of the second quarter until they started fighting back, you saw clearly, especially in the Hawks game too, they can't get no spacing because obviously Kawhi Leonard and Paul George demands the attention of a team to force themselves to get double teamed, and then guess what? You find an open look. But this team battled hard, and they got past the very tough, gritty defense of the Miami Heat and stuff like that. So yeah, Bam Adebayo, to be honest, he really didn't have a really. I would say he had a pretty decent game from the field. He didn't really have a really good game, which I'm happy that the Clippers actually limited Bam Adebayo to what he would have typically would have done. He essentially had a double-double. He had 13 rebounds, 7 assists, and 16 points. Yeah, and what I did see also too in the second quarter was the fact that when Zubac came in, he put in some work. Like when I'll read Zubac's stat line, in the points department, he didn't really do much of anything in the points department, but he was integral and he was key on the defensive side of the ball, which again, we've been raving so much about this kid. And again, Zubac has been killing it the last couple of games. Tyler Hero finished with 19 points. Obviously, he was the guy that almost brought the Heat back in the freaking game, like no lie. He was willing his team to get back in the game. We shockingly, and I mean shockingly, held Duncan Robinson to 6 points. We literally did not have Duncan Robinson do anything. He went 2 of 8 for this game, so this wasn't a good game for him. And I was like hoping that Duncan Robinson didn't kill us. I really do believe that Duncan Robinson had more points and a better shooting, field percentage. He more than likely probably win this game. So credit to the defense for the Clippers for being really, prepared. Now, 2 guys that kind of killed us was this Gabe Vincent and who's this guy? Max Strauss. Those were really the 2 guys that, at the time when you're looking at it, you're like, if the Clippers just play some defense on these, scrubs. Yes, I'm going to call them scrubs. Guys that probably don't see the court. I don't watch Miami Heat games, so they probably don't see the court if they have a full, healthy roster. You cannot be having guys like Gabe Vincent have 18 points. This Max Strauss, 12 points. I'm sorry. At least their 18 and 12 points, didn't kill the Clippers in the long run. Again, they all give credit where credit's due. Their performance is, commendable, and that was an impressive performance for those 2 players. But as me, I'm sorry. I don't know who the hell these guys are, and I don't expect these guys to go out there and ball out. But what do I know? If you actually watch the Clippers, guess what? It don't matter what game it is. It don't matter what team it is. If a team is shooting cold, they usually go into the Clipper game, and they're essentially eating the Clippers' defense like chicken nuggets. Easy pickings for them, and next thing you know, the low percentages of shots actually turn into high percentages of shots. Now, again, I don't know if that's the defense, Again, some of the defensive contest shots that the Clippers were getting were pretty good defenses. It was just the Heat were making these crazy, insane buckets at some points in the game. And it's like, dog, come on. Can they miss a damn bucket? I'm over here watching the same dang team, do much of nothing. And guess what? They can't do nothing, but it's against the Clippers. Of course, it's against the Clippers. They want to show out. I feel like as a Clipper fan, I just need to consistently get used to that because it's every time it happens. There's always that nobody player that just comes out of nowhere and just honestly knocks up the joint, where sometimes it can end up in a Clippers loss, where if you take away that player's performance, guess what? Things change. Anyways, that's kind of some of the rundown of the Heat. What I would say killed the Heat was really that second and third quarter. That second quarter where they let the Clippers get back in the game was really bad for them. Like, they really did not, execute well, and as well as they didn't get the stops necessary to keep the Clippers out of the game. Personally, if I was a Miami Heat fan, you know, I would personally say, like, listen, come on, you can't have that. Like, I'd probably be pissed after this game because, honestly, let's be honest. Like I said in the Hawks game, the Heat should have blown out the Clippers, especially with the lead they got out to today. So, yeah, hold on a quick second, guys. Okay, back from that quick interruption. Sorry, guys. But as I was saying, yeah, that second quarter really killed him. And then the third quarter, that really essentially put down the Heat for good. Not really entirety, because they were still in the game when you get to the fourth quarter. And I will give them credit. They fought back in the fourth quarter as hard as they could. But that third quarter, when the Clippers got it to a 20-2 run, that's essentially what done in the Heat. They definitely let the Clippers get to these wide open jump shots at the 3-point line. And essentially, sometimes you just can't overcome a big run. When a team has a big run, yeah, you can maybe fight back, but you'll more than likely come up short unless you have some heroic performance. And sadly, the Heat didn't have that. But again, credit to the Heat. They fought hard. I will give them their credit. They gave this Clippers team a challenge. And this Clippers team, they could have keeled over and just said, you know what, screw it. We'll just go in tomorrow and play Orlando and hopefully get the W against Orlando. But guess what? They didn't. They came back and fought and won this game. Now, some stat lines from the Clippers. Lou Williams, he rebounded in this game. There were some things that didn't look where Lou Williams didn't look like himself, but he's had 17 points, which was a much better different compared to his last game against the Hawks. He had a much better game, even though he finished with a -2. What is it? What happened? Zubats, like I said, he finished with 6 points, even though he had a -10. He had 2 blocks in this game, 1 steal, 1 assist, 8 rebounds. And I thought Zoo was pretty good. Again, when Zoo came into the game in the second quarter, he really changed the tone defensively for the Clippers and getting the Clippers back in the game. If it wasn't for his defense, I think the Clippers, would have saw themselves getting blown out. Marcus Morris Sr., who didn't particularly play well, I thought he played a well enough game, but when you look at his field goal percentage, he didn't really have it there. Like, he missed 8 threes tonight. He only hit 2, but at least one of those threes late in that game was a very clutch 3, which expanded the lead to the Clippers, essentially still keeping the Heat, out of the way and, making sure they don't make a comeback. So again, Marcus Morris Sr., he hit those timely baskets when we needed them to be hit, and that's the best thing you could ask for him, even though if he didn't play particularly well. At least that's one thing I can tell. So the starting lineup, Luke Kennard, he finished with 9 points. 4 of 10. He still, again, had another game where he struggled from 3. He only hit 1 3. Luke Kennard, listen, I do like me some Luke Kennard, but the one thing I constantly do see on Clippers Twitter, and I think most Clipper fans can agree, is this kid's got to stop being intimidated or scared. I don't know what's going on in his head, but when he has looks, he needs to stop hesitating those looks and just let it fly. We've seen the press conferences from other Clipper players and even Ty Lue himself say, like, listen, we just want Luke to just let it fly and have his confidence going, even if he is going 1 of 6. I don't care. If he's going like 1 for 10 from the 3-point and has a terrible shooting percentage from there, as long as I see him pulling up and taking, those open shots when he has, good enough space to pull up and take a shot, that's fine by me. And I think any other Clipper fan will say, yes, he's missing shots, but is he throwing those shots up and doing the best he can? Yes, that's good. I don't need him to turn into Landry Shamet, where Landry Shamet was doing the same thing last year, hesitating those wide open looks. And I'll get to the Clippers hesitating because I really truly believe that the Clippers, when it came to not hesitating up really good looks, it also did win them the game. So that Terrence Mann, which I thought he played probably his best game of his career up to this point, especially his best game as a Clipper, he showed out tonight. This was one of his best games. He finished with 12 points, led the team with a plus 17. At one point, it was a plus 23 in the game. But this dude literally killed it, man. He hit a good timely three, he put the ball on the floor. He got fouled sometimes, laid the ball up. I was like, okay, Terrence. Man, and I think this is a good thing, the fact that, I see why Ty Lue now inserted him into the starting lineup to not get him that quality time now that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George is out. And who knows? This playing time with Paul, maybe if Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, even though I don't want it to happen, are out for the entire road trip, this can only, help the development of a Terrence Mann going forward. Maybe this will also make him get more accustomed to the NBA speed and eventually get more aggressive. Again, he still has to work on his jump shot. He doesn't have much of a jump shot, but if he can drive it in there, he's definitely really freaking good. He also did get some pretty good rebounds. He had 2 assists, but I was virtually impressed with how Terrence Mann played. Again, another player that came out and, was one of the few players that has said, I got you in some points of the game. Reggie Jackson had another decent game other than the timeout blunder he had, but he had 16 points. He had 3 of his threes. He was 6 from 15 from the field. He had 8 rebounds, 6 assists, so he almost got a double-double. But, Reggie Jackson, again, other than, the timeout blunder, what more can I ask him to do? He's coming in and he's doing his thing. And listen, if he's going to be a productive player like that for me, I'll take that, Reggie Jackson. Again, like Terrence Mann, taking a chance, taking advantage of the opportunity given to him, because guess what? He typically won't get it when this team is fully healthy. So I like the fact that he knows his role and he's like, okay, I got to put this team on my back and help this team. I can't play bad because it's only going to inhibit the team. Serge Ibaka, who had a plus 16, finished with 10 points. And can I just tell you, Serge Ibaka, he also did have some timely threes, especially in the third quarter. But, man, for some reason at the rim, he could not hit a shot at the rim to save his life. Like, every time he threw up a jump hook, it would just rim out or just not even make it. And I'm like, dog, what the hell? Then he went to the three-point line, and he was making that. I was like, man, Serge Ibaka needs to go back to hitting his threes. But Serge Ibaka, I thought he played really well. There was a few times to me he lacked kind of some, defensive, I guess you can say, pressure. There was sometimes guys were just getting right past him, and when I felt like he could have put up a much better contest, he did a really good job here. And, to say they did a pretty good job, I'm sorry for that quick cutout. Something on my end happened. But anyways, I was speaking about, closing out this thing. What Batum gave us, again, if you didn't hear before, what Batum gave us was really much needed. If it wasn't for Nicholas Batum's, timely points, the Clippers don't win this game. The Clippers really don't win this game. And if it wasn't for him, we, listen, best offseason pickup by a mile, and I very much enjoy it. And can I just tell you, can I just say this? Can I just say this? I don't know if you Clipper fans are paying attention on Twitter, but there's this guy with a Twitter handle called @HornetsSportSpot. I would like to flood. I would like Clipper fans to flood his mentions and everything and call him out on his bullshit. We are not gonna have Nicholas Batum slander on this team because this man's killing it. And this guy, this Hornets fan, I'm guessing because he must be a Hornets fan, definitely does not know what the fuck he's talking about. Because he sounds like he's just a salty fan that, guess what, Nicholas Batum didn't work out for them in Charlotte, but he's gonna get upset about that and worry about how he's doing in Clippers. And the funny thing is, the last game, this is when he got started. The last game, he talked crap on Nicholas Batum because he only had 5 points. Yeah, Nicholas Batum had an off game, the last game. But guess what? He turned it around and he had an 18 game, which essentially saved the Clippers, which I did tweet at him saying, give your credit where credit's due. So I know he's probably not checking out this video. I don't care. He can, if he is, somehow checking out this video. I could care less. So I guess I'll tell you this. Screw off. Worry about your damn Charlotte Hornets instead of worrying about Nicholas Batum and the Clippers. So get a life. And until we play you guys, don't worry. You better hope Nicholas Batum doesn't kill you in a revenge game against the Hornets. I personally hope he does, because for that guy's sake, he better hope Nicholas Batum has a bad game against the Hornets. Otherwise, Clipper fans need to be up in that guy's mention saying, what? I don't know what he's talking about anyways. The Hornets are nowhere close compared to the Clippers when it comes to winning the title. So I don't know why he's so worried about Nicholas Batum. Sounds like a very salty guy to me. But the Clippers did their thing. Some team stats I want to put down. The Miami Heat had finished with a higher field goal percentage. We hit more 3-point shots than the Heat did. We had a better free throw percentage from the field. We out-rebounded the Miami Heat. And there was a few times in the second quarter where the Clippers went and out and literally went and chased down these, rebounds to make sure, hey, you're not getting these rebounds. So that was good on the Clippers. The Heat have 2 more assists than we did. We had more steals. We had 11 steals compared to the Heat, 5 steals, but the Heat had more turnovers as well. We had lesser turnovers. They had more the Heat had more fast break points than we did and more points in the paint than we did. But guess what? We still freaking ended up winning this freaking game, which, again, commendable act from the Clippers. It goes to show you that Ty Lue definitely told the team to keep fighting. And another thing I forgot to say, listen, the Clippers definitely, especially going into tomorrow's game against the Orlando Magic, they have to stop hesitating these good looks. The thing I saw as an issue with this game, which I stopped in the third quarter, was having these wide open looks, and they just pull up and then just kind of, pump fake. No. From what Tyler says in his interview, he said he told the guys, don't do that. Just let it fly. And when the Clippers let it fly, look what happened. Well, anyways, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I don't know if I'm going to do a Clippers game recap based on the Orlando Magic game. It's based on how that game turns out. Don't know. Usually I don't want to do a game recap on a back-to-back, but maybe I will. We'll just find out. Anyways, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully, guys, if you guys liked the video, leave a like. Again, put in the comment section what you liked from the Clippers this game. If you're a Miami Heat fan, what did you hate that the Heat did against that the Clippers exploited? And I also forgot to say that. Credit to the Clippers for, even though they were phased by the Miami Heat zone defense, they did get past it and they did beat it sometimes. So that is one thing I will commend them on. So yeah, that's kind of it. Hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Clippers content going forward on this channel. Anyways, guys, it's been Ken15. Hopefully you Clipper fans or NBA fans have a great rest of your night. Until then, hopefully you guys are staying safe out there. Till then, guys, peace.